I 23F stop relying on my husband 25M man, I think it's making things worse. Advice: I'm sure you all have heard similar stories. My husband, despite multiple discussions over the past 2 years, never takes initiative in chores or anything in our lives. I'm constantly the one reminding him and asking him to do things, and when I don't, it doesn't get done. He told me he started hating me because of it about 6 months ago, so we both had an agreement that I will stop telling him what to do as long as he starts following up with his promises. I followed up on my end of the promise and he didn't within a few days. We agreed that since I wake up first to work out then make breakfast, he wakes up with our kid and takes her to daycare before work. After work I pick up our kid and make dinner and manage the bedtime routine. And he cleans the kitchen while I do that. Every single day I walk out after bedtime to the kitchen not being touched. It's so disappointing and hurtful. Usually I get upset at him and tell him that I really want the kitchen clean every day. And he just brushes me off, saying he will do it the morning 25% of the time he does. But since we had the agreement, I stopped. I just pretended to ignore the mess and would get ready for bed, because by then I would have to get up in 7 hours. I let him be responsible for the mess because that's what we agreed on. 2 months later and our kitchen was always a mess. Constantly. You would have molded food on the stove next to the sink, crumbs everywhere on the floor. So I gave up and started cleaning whenever I had time. I learned to cook and clean at the same time. Stressful with a child, but I learned. Most of the time there were a week worth of dishes. And we have no dishwasher, so it took me a long time to catch up on washing the dishes. After bedtime usually I'd be the only one cleaning. He would be laying in bed even though I wake up 2 hours before he does. He would literally yell at me about how I let the dishes get so stinky whenever he did wash the dishes, even though he agreed that he's responsible for cleaning after dinner. So I stopped relying on him and just started taking care of everything on my own. It's been 2 months of that mindset and I find it harder to respect him now. He seems like a child to me. Always complaining about everything and never puts effort. Always too tired and grumpy. Today I was very excited because my husband brought up the idea of a movie night date. He never brings up date ideas or plans them, so it made me so hopeful. He said he would rent a movie and after bedtime we would watch it. I made a fancier dinner and put our kid down. Kid took a little longer to go down, but I was fine with it, because I figured he would clean today so we can have a movie night. I was wrong. He didn't even bother to close the lids on the pans on the stove. He just turned off the lights in the kitchen. It felt like my heart broke and I cleaned the kitchen myself again. He walked out, didn't say a word, and watched YouTube videos at the counter. Once I was done cleaning, we went to the bedroom and he just laid down and went to sleep. It hurt so much. I was so hopeful this time. He gets mad at me that I don't treat him like a man, but he never shows me he's reliable. I'm always hurt by his actions. Anyway, any advice on what I should do? Stories number 2. I 29M broke up with my GF3OF of 3 years after she cheated. Now she is insisting we talk. How important is closure in this scenario? I was in a relationship for 3 years with my GF and it was a very happy, easygoing and loving relationship. We almost never argued, and when we did we would communicate like adults and solve the problem. The last week of our relationship we had our first big argument, which we didn't manage to solve in a conversation. We were not getting anywhere and nerves were high. We decided to take some time to cool down and try again in a couple of days. In that space of time, she went out one night and hooked up with a guy in our friend group. She then confessed it to me and I called off the relationship. I was shocked and didn't expect this at all from her. I told her to leave the house, which she did, and I cut contact completely. For the past week or so now she has been reaching out to me to say we need to talk. And that it's not right that a beautiful 3-year relationship ends like this and that we need closure. She says we both deserve this conversation to clear things up. Obviously I miss her and breaking up is hard, but I also don't want her back at all, so I'm not sure if it's a good idea to have this talk. What good can come out of it? I think what is done is done. There is no changing the past. She fucked up, case closed. Stories number 3. Do I stay with my boyfriend 58M after he suddenly is concerned about my 50F health? I'm still processing this several days later and trying to decide if after a pretty great 14 months of dating, I should break up with him. Joe and I met on a dating site. I thought he was a catfish at first because he retired young and is widowed, but no, he's real local, and while he's a little older than I usually date, he's fun and very attentive, is proactive about planning dates, super thoughtful and very affectionate. We typically go hiking on the weekend. Being retired, he hikes every day and is in great shape. I work a 4-10 schedule and do a lot of volunteer work. I don't exercise regularly and what my friends have said is curvy. This weekend during our hike, Joe started getting ahead of me. After a while I noticed that he had his phone up to his ear. I thought he must have gotten a phone call and didn't realize he was getting ahead of me. But he just kept going until he got to the top and sat on a bench to wait for me. When I got to the top, I jokingly asked if the slow girl could join him. "I guess that was kind of rude," he commented. Then said, "Are you ready for a frank discussion?" He proceeded to tell me that now that my kid's 22 and we're all away at college, I needed to spend more time focused on my health. He never said weight, always health. When we first started dating, I thought that being in a relationship would motivate you to get healthy. "I need my girlfriend you to be healthy. You would feel so much better about yourself if you were healthier." I asked him if he had intentionally left me behind, and he said he was just walking at his normal pace. I was slow. I asked if he had been on a phone call. No, was listening to music because he was bored. "He's not wrong, I do want to lose weight. But I also work a lot, am menopausal and have a lot of responsibilities. The relationship has been pretty good. I hate to end it over this, but I'm having a hard time getting past the idea that this has clearly been an issue. Since the beginning, I'm actually a few pounds lighter than when we met, and have been thinking he loves me as I am. My ex-husband regularly insulted me about my weight when I was much healthier than I am now. I've been separated and divorced for 14 years, and this is only the second and longest LTR I've been in since my divorce. Do I walk away and free him up to find someone more to his liking?" Stories number 4. My boyfriend, 18 meters, drew me 18F and I made a joke about it. Now he feels terrible and won't calm down. How do I fix this? So I 18F asked my boyfriend 18M to draw me a while back, and recently he decided to give it a shot. We've been dating for 7 months. He's not super confident in drawing people and used a dry erase board for it. When he showed me the sketch, I immediately noticed it highlighted a couple of things I'm insecure about, like my shoulders and stomach. But instead of being upset, I found it kind of funny and joked about how he managed to capture all my insecurities perfectly. I wasn't serious, just trying to be playful. Well, he didn't take it the way I expected. He started apologizing over and over, saying he didn't mean to upset me, and that he thought those parts of the drawing looked nice. I reassured him that I wasn't offended at all, but he seemed really shaken by it. Later he started panicking, telling me he'd been worrying all day, and blaming himself for some nightmares had, which honestly had nothing to do with the drawing. It was just my mental state. I've tried to explain that I was just joking and that it wasn't a big deal, but he still feels awful. How can I make him feel better and understand that I wasn't actually hurt? I don't want him to carry this guilt over something that was meant to be lighthearted. Any advice on how to approach this? TL. Doctor. My boyfriend drew a picture of me and I joked about how it highlighted my insecurities, shoulder, stomach, but I wasn't actually upset. Now he feels terrible, is panicking and blames himself for my nightmares, which weren't even related to the drawing. How can I help him calm down and understand I was just joking? Update: I'm gonna get clowned for this update, but we've been arguing all day because I made this post and he's been angry at me because of it. He has a friend who he told about one of our arguments in the past and it caused a lot of problems for us. And he promised he wouldn't text that friend again. But he told that friend, and in doing so he hurt me and broke my trust. He's just been saying mean stuff and not listening to how I tried to make this post to figure out a solution to help him. We've just been arguing all day and have been crying all day, and I told him I was suicidal and he told my mom. And my mom called an ambulance and now I'm being sent to a psych hospital. How long for, but I've been in one before and am scared. I asked him to just apologize, I begged him, but we just kept arguing. I know some of you won't believe this post. I hardly believe my situation myself because of the absurdity. But here's the update. Stories number 5. Fiank 36 meters, and to music festival without me 30F with a couple of friends and his ex 35F. I don't know how I should react. I'm not sure if I should be upset or brush it off. I know that they wouldn't do anything, but what I can't let go is that he never told me that she was coming with them until I saw her in the background of one of his Snapchats. And no, it's not the case that she was at the same festival. I coincidence the group went up a couple days early so they could explore the city. So for context, my fiancé and I had been together for 5 years and are getting married this spring. Tim and his ex were together for 8 years and they share a daughter together. While they were together, he also helped to raise her son from a past relationship. That bit of information isn't relevant, but for me, in the back of my head, it always feels like he misses that little family that he had with her that he doesn't have with me. My fiancé and his ex also share a lot of the same friends, and fiancé's best friend is actually his ex's brother-in-law, so we have that dynamic. Anyways, jumping back to present day, he told me in the beginning, middle of summer, that he was going to this music festival with his best friend and some other people, which I was fine with because he had gone to a music festival last year with his friends. The only thing that took me back was last year when he came back, he said that he wished that I had come and that I should go with them next year, but when he told me about this year's festival, he didn't mention anything about if I wanted to come. I thought maybe it was because he wanted to spend time with his best friend. But even if that was the case, I knew that there would be other people. Did he not think I would like the music, which turns out, after looking at the lineup, one of my favorite bands is one of the headliners. But I brushed that off because the time of the music festival I start getting busy for work. So I probably couldn't have gone anyways, but now that it's the weekend of the festival, I'm not busy yet, so could have definitely gone. So leading up to the festival, I'm asking him questions about it. Where are they going to stay? What are they going to do? Who's going with them, etc. He showed me one picture of the Airbnb they are staying at. He told me that the people that are going to be him, his best friend, a couple that they are friends with, and maybe some other people, but he wasn't sure. I figured there might be more people going because the festival is only 3 hours away from the area that we live in, so it wouldn't be that hard for more people to get up there for the festival. So with that thought, I also wondered if his ex would also go, since she also enjoys that type of music that will be played at the festival. She is also in the same friend group, and her mom is always watching fiancé and ex's daughter on the weekend that she has. Her son is old enough to watch himself. So it comes the day that he is leaving for the festival, and I ask him again, who's all going with you guys? And how are you getting there if I'm dropping you off? He said that it's still the same for people, him, his best friend, and the couple. And they are renting a van, which I thought was weird since they could all fit in a sedan if it's just for people. But whatever, him and I aren't paying for the van. So I drop his off at his friend's house. Before the van gets there, tell him bye and I love you. The next day I was bored and am a stalker, so I was like, oh, I'll waste some time and try to find the Airbnb that they're staying at, and I find it. The Airbnb has 5 bedrooms and can sleep 14 people. I thought was really weird and unnecessary, if only for people are going and they only really need 3 bedrooms. So that confirms my suspicion that more than just those 4 went, but again I brushed it off because maybe and he didn't really know that more people are going. And then it wasn't later that night that I saw his Snapchat that had his ex in the background. And now I don't know what to do because he would have had to have known that she was going. Because he would have had to talk to his ex and ask her to switch weekends with him. Because he was supposed to have his daughter this weekend. I guess what I'm most upset about is that he didn't tell me she was going. And even if he didn't think that it would be important to tell me if roles were reversed, I would hope that he would also be upset and uncomfortable if I went to a function that I know one of my exes would be at. So I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should brush this off as well, or if I should confront him while he's there, or when he gets back, or if I should just break up with him. LOL. If he would have told me that she was going when he first told me about the festival, I think that I would have requested that I go with him, or if he didn't want me to go with him, he can't go to the festival. Stories number 6. Girlfriend 26F accused me 29 meters of not loving her enough when I wouldn't change my mind about not wanting children. I've always known I've never wanted to have children. I'm 29 now and I've been with my girlfriend for 4 years. My girlfriend is 26 and at the start of our relationship I made sure she knew I didn't want kids and she said she didn't want them either. Things have been great in the relationship until recently. My girlfriend has started talking about kids. She's been talking to young relatives and some people at work have had kids, so she's been talking about them. She asked what I thought about trying for kids within the next year or two. I reminded her that I didn't want kids at all and I thought she was on the same page. She said we were younger then, whereas we have careers now and are settled. I just repeated that I'd told her previously I didn't want kids at all. She said I clearly don't love her enough if I'm not willing to consider it. I told her again, it's not up for discussion. She said I clearly wasn't serious about her and had been stringing her along, but I just pointed out I've been honest from the start. She just chose to ignore me. How would you handle this? Doctor, my girlfriend got angry, and I refused to change my mind about not wanting children. She accused me of stringing her along and not loving her enough. Stories number 7. My girlfriend 26F said I 29 meters wasn't prioritizing her when I canceled a weekend away. My girlfriend and I had planned to go away this weekend. I have paid for the hotel, which is non-refundable, and we've each paid for our own travel costs, which is only $20 each. Unfortunately, I received some bad news yesterday that my mum has been diagnosed with cancer. I don't live in the same town as my mum, so I can't just go over whenever I want, so I told her I'd come over as soon as I could. I told my girlfriend we'd need to cancel our weekend away as I needed to go and see my mum. She asked if I had to go this weekend, and I told her yes, since I need to see her as soon as I can. I said we can rearrange and do it another time. She mentioned the money that's been wasted, but I pointed out most of it is my money anyway, and my mum is more important than the cost of a hotel. She said there's nothing I can do anyway, but I just told her that I can be there to support my mum. I asked if she'd seriously prefer we go away, while I'm worried about my mum, just so she could have a weekend away. I told her to go with a friend if it mattered that much to her, but I'm going to spend the weekend with my mom and brother. She said I was being unfair not considering and prioritizing her, but I just said, after the news I've had, my mum comes before a weekend away. How would you handle this? Doctor, my mum got diagnosed with cancer, so I canceled plans for a weekend away with my girlfriend to go and stay with my mum. My girlfriend got annoyed and started complaining about the money that had been lost and said there's nothing I can do by visiting my mum anyway. Stories number 8. My 30F partner 30 meters made a joke implying he would leave if I accidentally got pregnant. Would you take this as a joke? 130F had a bit of a pregnancy scare because I realized my contraceptive IUD had expired. I was a bit stressed and told my partner what if I was really pregnant, and my partner 30M apparently joked and said it was good knowing you. I was visibly upset about his response during this sensitive time, that he thought it would be a good joke to bring up that if I'm pregnant he's gone. He said he was just joking and of course would be there and support me. But it made me feel uneasy. Would like to know what your thoughts are. Males, would you say this joke, and do you think it's funny and harmless? And females, how would you feel about the remark? Would you find it funny as a joke or be hurt? TLDR. Got a pregnancy scare and asked my partner what if I was actually pregnant, and he joked saying it's good knowing you, implying he would leave, but says that he was just joking. Stories number 9. I am 30, broke up with my girlfriend F31, telling her all the reasons why she wasn't happy. How would you want someone to break up with you? I am 30, broke up with my girlfriend F31 of 20 months in person, telling her that my heart wasn't in the relationship anymore. She was distraught and after the breakup kept texting me asking why we broke up. I then sent her a long message detailing why I thought we weren't right for each other. I don't know if I made things better or worse because she blitzed me with messages after, angry about all the reasons I gave. TLDR. Would you want to know the honest reason someone broke up with you? TS. I did tell her it was partly because she didn't look after her health, but I left it at that. Yes, that was part of the reason. Stories number 10. My M30 girlfriend F30 used to do porn and my friends eventually found it. How do I manage my feelings of jealousy? I've been with my girlfriend for over 2 years. All things considered, we have a great relationship. Within the first year of us dating, she disclosed to me that she has a past where she has done porn solo and wobogirl. She explained how it was a rough time in her life and other reasonings that aren't important for this. I had a rough time with this. I saw some of it out of my own curiosity. If you're in this situation, don't do this. There is no good outcome. Decided to make things work. Things have been good. It's much less of an issue for me and I'm relatively proud of myself. However, recently some of my friends found this content. They said it was by happenstance, but there's no way. At the same time, there's no real way they could have done a Google search and found it either. They didn't even know of her past. So now I'm really upset. I'm jealous that they've seen her like that. I'm just all around embarrassed and upset, not to mention why they came across the content to begin with. I haven't told my GF that they've seen it. I haven't told anyone. I don't know if I should bring this up to her. Either way, I'm really struggling to handle my emotions. I'd give him being an asshole, but I can't help these feelings. Is there a good way to handle this? TLDR. GF has a past in porn and my friends found the content. I can't handle my jealousy of them seeing her naked and doing intercourse things. Stories number 11. My GF F19 wants a baby but I'm F18 not ready for one. How can I explain to her that I'm not ready but I love her? Me M18 and by my girlfriend F19 have been together for only 4 months. She constantly tell me every day that she wants to try for a baby, but I constantly ask her to please wait. I am not ready for a baby, nor is she. We aren't ready mentally or financially. Every time I tell her that I'm not ready, she shuts me out and distances herself. It has happened almost every day for the past 2 months. I do love her and eventually I want to get to that step with her, but I'm not ready to be a father. I don't want a breakup, but it's starting to take a toll on me. I feel as I'm not enough for her. She says and thinks I don't love her because I want to wait. I try my best to be respectful and nice because I know this is a sensitive topic to her. Just last week she tried to break up with me, and after I agreed to a mutual breakup, she almost immediately came running back to me, even offering me money to take her back. I did take her back. How can I help her understand that I love her, but I am just not ready for such a big step? Stories number 12. My wife F28 mad at me M31 that I didn't tell her my brother is having a baby. How to fix this? Background. My brother and I are 2 years apart and are somewhat close. He called me a week ago and shared the news that his wife is 5 months pregnant. He also asked me not to share the news with anybody. Today, while FaceTiming, his wife told my wife that she is pregnant. I was mad at first because I thought they were keeping this a secret. When my wife told me the news, I acted surprised. Later today, I casually told my wife that I knew already that my brother shared the news a week ago. And oh Lord, all hell breaks loose. She was mad at me for not sharing this news with her. She said I do not trust her. I personally believe she is blowing this out of proportion. I have literally tried everything to fix things, but nothing really seems to work. I feel dumb for opening my mouth. I should have just kept quiet. Have any of you guys gotten into similar situation? Stories number 13. I F26 just found Grindr on my 22 meters boyfriend's phone. I'm a 26F and he's a 22 meters, and I always had an inkling there was a flare there. I used to say all the time when I was younger that I wanted a gay boyfriend. Not my literal manifestation coming true. Now I actually have one and am not as happy as I thought. FY, he lets me play Monopoly on his phone, and I went to the App Store to find it, and I saw that he recently downloaded Grindr. I don't go through his phone for my own mental sake, and I just so happened to stumble upon that. He's a coal miner who works an hour and a half in the next state over. He's always working overtime, and by Wednesday, he already has 40+ hours logged, and he decides to double and sleep in his truck. Whatever you say, baby, but it's like he never has the money to do anything. Is he even actually working, or something far out of my control? I'm not upset with him for possibly being gay, and more upset that he's sneaking around and cheating. So yeah, any advice on what to do next? Stories number 14. My wife 3F has become a fashion victim. Can I do anything about this? Normally my position on my wife's outfits is she can wear whatever she wants. If she's happy, then I'm happy. But her clothing choices in the last few years have been so weird, and she doesn't seem happy with them herself. She says things like, "Why do I look so old?" And I say something reassuring, but I want to say, "Because you're wearing a 70-year-old woman's shirt." She asks my opinions on her outfits and shopping baskets, and I'm lost for words. Like, no, I don't think a brown acrylic sack is a nice piece of clothing. These fast fashion items fall apart, they're shapeless, the fabrics are awful, polyester or acrylic. I hate having to be positive about them. Her current style seems like a mishmash from social media ads. Streetwear, earth tones, pastels, minimalism, bold patterns, throwback, preppy details. When I see the ads she watches, the models who are pulling off these outfits are professionally styled. They also use balanced combinations like balanced tones, baggy with fitted, formal with casual, and makeup to match. I figured she just needed time to learn a new style, but it's been years. Some of the items are so out there I don't like being with her in public. Like her pastel jumpsuit with bows on it, or her woolen sweater with peekaboo sides. I'm sure they can look good when styled well, but she's always rushing out the door, and just combines them with the first clean thing she finds. I've gently asked things like, how did the model wear this style this? When she's dissatisfied with how something looks. She's very sensitive to other people's opinions, so it's hard to phrase things in a way that isn't enthusiastic approval without her taking it as criticism. She will criticize my outfits if she thinks I look sloppy. The wool betide me if I say when trying to think of a response about a shirt. I'm not a guy who puts zero effort into my own appearance, and then expects my wife to look dolled up 24/7. I have a low-maintenance style, but it works because I planned it. But she seems to want low effort with maximum style. I'm tired of her asking my opinion when she doesn't want to hear any advice. She complains she has nothing to wear while her closet is full to bursting. I gave her most of my closet space to see if that would help her organize. I've encouraged her to spend more money on buying from proper labels. Ideally, I would just hire her a stylist and they can buy a whole new wardrobe, but that would cost several thousands. I just want her to pay attention to what she buys so she stops looking like she got dressed in the dark. Is there anything I can do about this, or do I just continue on as I am and hope for the best? Stories number 15. My husband banned me from initiating intercourse when we moved in together. The ban continued through our honeymoon, and now 3 years later. He has lifted the ban, but I have zero desire to initiate. How do I get my libido back after years of ignoring my needs? Found out later he had a myriad of health problems, heart condition and low T, both of which are fixed, so the excuse I gave myself was he was sick and needed time. I would hate to have been pressure if the situation was reversed. Now I find I have no interest in initiating. I can't remember the last time I was legitimately aroused. We would be intimate once every 6 to 8 weeks, so we've technically had a dead bedroom our entire marriage. I would take it when I could get it, but now he's upset that I haven't initiated since the ban was lifted. M49 and F35 together 5 years. How do I get my libido back? Stories number 16. I 26F feel disgusted by him 26 meters advice please. In a relationship with my BF for 7 months now. So he follows a page on Instagram where a woman is posing in pictures that are almost nude. He liked her most recent picture and I brought it up to him that it feels disrespectful to me. He says her photos are like art to him. They do have sort of an artistic angle to them, with the posing and clothing, or lack thereof, but the woman is truly basically cloth off and posing intercourse, and he didn't intend to disrespect me. He unfollowed the page, but I still feel disgusted by him. When he touches me I can't help but think of him intercourse her. I cannot understand why he couldn't just scroll past why he had to publicly do that. He thinks I'm being too hard on him since it's only the first time I'm bringing it up. I think I shouldn't have to bring this up to a grown man. Now I feel sick around him. What is everyone's experience with an issue like this? Is this an overreaction? Will I eventually get over it? Stories number 17. My 3-2 to 7F acting strange after business trip. Duido. We have been together for a year and a half, and our relationship has been good up to this point. She was out for 5 days for a business trip to a conference. Without disclosing much, we both work in the same field, but not a lot of overlap. The conference would debut a project she had been working on. I did not go because of my own work, but she went with her coworkers on the project and everyone seemed to have a great time. I picked her up from the airport 2 nights ago, and when I went in for a hug and kiss, she didn't return it and just went to grab her luggage. The whole ride home she was basically catatonic. She didn't want to talk much and would either ignore me, give a delayed short answer, or be very short with me. The only thing I could get when I asked what's wrong was I'm tired. When we got home, I reheated some food for her while she was in the shower. After the shower she took her bowl, but dropped it on the way to the table and immediately started crying. I tried to comfort her and give her my But she angrily said she wasn't hungry and was going to bed, and went to our bedroom where she ripped the blankets and her pillow off of the bed, brought them into her office to the bed she uses for naps and closed the door. She hasn't really left her office since. We are now on day 2, but I do see she is coming out of her office for food. I've sent texts asking to talk, but she hasn't responded. The door is locked, but if I knock she will say she's okay but napping. She won't talk to me and I don't really know what's wrong. Obviously something major happened. I checked social media, but everyone was smiles online. I spoke to my friend who went with her. He worked with her on the project and asked how it all went that first night. He felt the trip went well and everyone had a good time. I inquired more about GF after and he did tell me there was a part of the trip about halfway through where she started crying over lunch, but he didn't have any other details. I don't really think she is cheating, but I also don't know what could cause this. Any help? TLDR. GF is acting strange after her business trip. What do Ito? Stories number 18. My 33F husband 31M refuses to work. Would you consider leaving? My husband and I have been together for almost 13 years, married for the last 4. He has a daughter whom we have full custody of and I've been in her life since she was 2. She's almost 14 now. 2 years ago I took in my sister's 3 children as well. For the past few years, my husband has refused to work and even before that his employment was inconsistent. In June 2023 he started a job as a porter at a truck stop. But unfortunately in August 2023 he was caught stealing money and hasn't worked since. He often tells me that I only need him to work because I brought my sister's kids into the household. My sister is struggling with mental health issues including bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, and has been in and out of hospitals. I love her and her children deeply and they're not going anywhere. However, I feel like my husband is punishing me for taking them in, and it's becoming clear to me that Hayes used me as a mother figure for both himself and his child. I often think about leaving, but I own my home, and during arguments, he tells me to leave, claiming I can't make him go. I love my stepdaughter dearly and the thought of losing her is painful. I feel incredibly miserable and lonely and am just not sure what to do anymore. Note: my sister does not live with us, only the kids. Edit: I want to thank you for your opinions. I think the general consensus is to consult a divorce lawyer. That will be my next step. Stories number 19. My 21 FBF 25M slapped me a month ago during an argument. And while Hayes been great since, I feel like something's changed. If to 1F been with my boyfriend 25 meters for a year now. But we've been friends for about 2 years. Before that, honestly, Hayes been amazing, always super supportive and kind. Hayes never been anything but loving and caring. About a month ago, we had an argument where I refused to listen to him and just left the room. He got really frustrated and ended up slapping me. It was completely out of the blue because Hayes never been physical or even verbally hurtful before. He was really sorry and promised it wouldn't happen again. And honestly, he hasn't done anything like that since. But I can't shake this feeling that something's different. Sometimes I just don't feel like talking to him or listening without a clear reason. Last week we were out happy and all, and I suddenly felt this intense anger, but it passed after about 15 minutes. I still love him and want things to work, but these feelings are messing with my head. Has anyone else been in a situation where your partner hurt you but then promised it wouldn't happen again and actually stuck to their word? Did you notice any changes in your relationship afterward? In just trying to figure out if this is normal or if I'm overthinking things. Stories number 20. My 31F yank 26 meters choked me so hard during intercourse that I lost consciousness. Is this something to worrying about? My fiancé and I live 2 hours away from each other, and we only get to see each other at most about 4 days a month. We usually try to have as much intercourse as possible whenever I am at his place. Because and usually is pretty great. Occasionally he likes to spice things up, pan do CNC, and he usually lets me know ahead of time that wants to do that kind of role-playing. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but I let him do it occasionally. When he expresses that desire to me beforehand. We were on probably round 3 of intercourse and things were good. I was enjoying myself. He tells me about halfway through to lay on my back. And I obliged because I really enjoy missionary for the romantic looking into each other's eyes aspect. He starts off normally in missionary and all is well. until he starts getting a bit rougher than usual. Then without warning he wraps his hands around my throat and starts squeezing as hard as he can. Head choked me during intercourse in the past, but never this rough. I was seriously having trouble breathing and scratching, pulling at his hands trying to get them off my throat. My vision was going static, and then things went silent, everything went black, and before I knew what was happening, I'm waking up to him frantically saying my name and shaking me and trying to wake me up. I didn't know what was going on or what had happened, but I was terrified and had the overwhelming urge to sob, so that's what I did. He pulled me into a hug, asked if I was alright, and told me to look him in the eyes and promise I was alright. It took maybe a solid 30 to 40 seconds to get my eyes uncrossed. From the moment I came to, my eyes were stuck crossed, and that scared both him and me. But finally, after rubbing my eyes really hard, I got them to uncross. I was apologizing profusely for losing consciousness while sobbing, and he was just holding me and telling me it's okay because Hayes got me. He told me that I should get some rest. It was getting close to 12 a.m. and I usually fall asleep around 10:45 p.m., so he held me while I drifted off to sleep. Of course, I didn't really get to sleep for very long, because I felt like I only just fallen into a deep sleep when I felt him climb on top of me and start pulling my panties to the side and start thrusting again. I guess he was still turned on from a little bit ago, and when I started to open my eyes, he put a pillow over my face and went at it till he was finished. At this point, I just don't really know how to feel. Since then, I've not felt very intercourse and haven't sent him very many nudes. It doesn't help that for a couple days now Hayes been more snappy and reserved. Maybe it's because Hayes started to get a cold or something. All I know is that things have been awkward between us since I got back from his house, and Hayes gone right back to being distant and acting like I'm an afterthought. I guess what I'm asking is this: is it normal for someone to go into CNC without letting their partner know beforehand? And is it normal to lose consciousness from being choked extra hard? TL. Dr. My 31F yanked to 6M choked me so hard during intercourse that I lost consciousness. Is this something to worry about? Edit. For some reason, I'm having issues upvoting, replying to comments, and it's really frustrating, because there are comments I want to reply and questions I'm trying to answer. Edit 2. Okay, I've started being able to upvote and reply to some comments. I'd like to clarify that this isn't fake, I've just been conditioned to violence and abuse. Also, my daughter and fiancé have never met. Here are some symptoms I've had since I last saw my fiancé. Recurring headaches, diarrhea, panic attacks, and emotion breakdowns, both of which happened in front of my boss during a job performance meeting. My acid reflux has gotten worse. I've been having trouble swallowing my food, drinks, and my mom has commented that my voice sounds a little hoarse. Edit 3. I've been having some neck pain, so I decided to take some pics with my front-facing phone camera. Now I know why my neck hurts. Apparently I do in fact have bruises on my neck. Stories number 21. DILM24 told me at 26 he is getting a secret vasectomy without telling Sil at 25. Do we tell her? The other night we went to a family dinner with my husband's side. While everyone was up getting food from the buffet, my brother-in-law Bill and I stayed behind to tend to the kids until the others returned. He pulled me into a hug, asked if I was alright, and told me to look him in the eyes and promise I was alright. It took maybe a solid 30 to 40 seconds to get my eyes uncrossed. From the moment I came to, my eyes were stuck crossed, and that scared both him and me. But finally, after rubbing my eyes really hard, I got them to uncross. I was apologizing profusely for losing consciousness while sobbing, and he was just holding me and telling me it's okay because Hayes got me. He told me that I should get some rest. It was getting close to 12 a.m. and I usually fall asleep around 10:45 p.m., so he held me while I drifted off to sleep. Of course, I didn't really get to sleep for very long, because I felt like I only just fallen into a deep sleep when I felt him climb on top of me and start pulling my panties to the side and start thrusting again. I guess he was still turned on from a little bit ago, and when I started to open my eyes, he put a pillow over my face and went at it till he was finished. At this point, I just don't really know how to feel. Since then, I've not felt very intercourse and haven't sent him very many nudes. It doesn't help that for a couple days now Hayes been more snappy and reserved. Maybe it's because Hayes started to get a cold or something. All I know is that things have been awkward between us since I got back from his house, and Hayes Gone right back to being distant and acting like I'm an afterthought. I guess what I'm asking is this: is it normal for someone to go into CNC without letting their partner know beforehand? And is it normal to lose consciousness from being choked extra hard? TL. Dr. My 31F yank to 6N choked me so hard during intercourse that I lost consciousness. Is this something to worrying about? Edit. For some reason, I'm heaving issues upvoting, replying to comments, and it's really frustrating. Because there are comments I want to reply and questions I'm trying to answer. Edit 2. Okay, I've started being able to upvote and reply to some comments. I'd like to clarify that this isn't fake, I've just been conditioned to violence and abuse. Also, my daughter and fiancé have never met. Here are some symptoms I've had since I last saw my fiancé. Recurring headaches, diarrhea, panic attacks, and emotion breakdowns, both of which happened in front of my boss during a job performance meeting. My acid reflux has gotten worse, I've been having trouble swallowing my food, drinks, and my mom has commented that my voice sounds a little hoarse. Edit 3. I've been having some neck pain, so I decided to take some pics with my front-facing phone camera. Now I know why my neck hurts. Apparently I do in fact have bruises on my neck. Stories number 21. The ILM24 told me F26 he is getting a secret vasectomy. Without telling Silaf 25 do we tell her. The other night we went to a family dinner with my husband's side. While everyone was up getting food from the buffet, my brother-in-law Bill and I stayed behind to tend to the kids until the others returned. It is part of our foreplay almost 100% of the time, and have spent countless hours doing it. She expects it, asks for it, and it's clear she enjoys it. But she has never had an orgasm from it. I have asked her many times to tell me what I can do to help her get there, but she doesn't say much. I just assumed she couldn't orgasm from it but still enjoyed it, which was fine with me. Until she recently told me she can orgasm from oral and has with past partners. This floored me and made me feel very insecure. It's very important to me I please my partner. It's obvious what my goal is down there for so many hours. And to find out this whole time she can orgasm from oral but hasn't with me really bothers me. Why wouldn't she express ways I could improve technique, etc.? Owing that's what I'm trying to do. I have asked, why would she lead me to believe she couldn't when she could? After almost 2 years of performing oral on her with the obvious goal of making her orgasm, she nonchalantly tells she can, but she has never with me, and has never even offered any type of constructive criticism to help achieve this. When I have asked really bothers me. It doesn't make any sense to me and I can't help but feel insecure about it. And little upset that she hasn't communicated this to me. Am I being immature about this? Why wouldn't she, at least for her own pleasure, want to improve this? Why wouldn't this be important to her? I have done this with her in regards to oral intercourse on me. It seems obvious that if she knows she can achieve orgasm from receiving oral, but hasn't with me for almost 2 years, that she helped to make that happen through communication. What does she think I'm trying to do down there? Feeling very confused and hurt. Stories number 24. I 20F keep having bad gut feeling about my boyfriend 28 meters. It will not go away. How do I deal with this? Since me F20 and my boyfriend 28 have met, I have always had this gut feeling that I should stay away from him. We have been together for 6 months. He has not shown really any abusive or manipulative behavior or qualities. But for some reason, no matter how hard I try to push away this faint uneasiness feeling I keep having around him, it will not go away at all. I don't know what it is, feels so like intuition that something bad will happen to me later on because I decide to stay with him. He is older, owns couple of weapons like guns and knives and a little blunt. But he never really targeted at me. Oh, it's not paranoid. TDLR. I keep feeling uneasy around my boyfriend since we met, despite any abusive or manipulative behavior from him that I can detect. My gut keeps telling me to stay away from him before he shows his true self and attack me. Stories number 25. I'm 19 am scared that we're not going to be intercourse compatible. 19F. Quick summary. I'm in a 3-year relationship and we're waiting till marriage to have intercourse, but I didn't hold this belief before and now I'm scared we aren't intercourse compatible. I need advice on whether or not to keeping dating or end it now. So my girlfriend 19F and I 19 meters have been together for the past 3 years and I believe on all aspects we're golden. We communicate clearly whenever we have a disagreement. We respect each other's boundaries, have our own personal lives to grow ourselves independently and not be stuck at the hip 24/7. And I believe our relationship is amazing, but we have one problem. She is waiting till marriage and I decided to wait along with her. Even though I didn't hold that promise before. Early in our relationship she told me that she is going to wait until marriage to have intercourse. And I really liked her at the time, so I stuck by without a second thought, and I told her that's okay, I'll wait with you. Because it can't be that hard to wait. So as time went on, our love grew immensely and we would go through some bumps. But we made it out still together and stronger, and we would often kiss and all that. We would then try everything under the sun that isn't intercourse. Is it often? No. But the thing is, I'm a very intercourse person. I want to try everything and I'm constantly in the mood. She isn't not the complete opposite, but definitely a lot more tame than me. Don't get me wrong, we do have our wild moments of intense hand gestures in each other's pants, but it doesn't happen often. Now you may think how I manage my intercourse drive in a situation like this. And the answer is just a lot of school and work keeping me busy and adult. Yes, she knows I watch adult videos, so I'm usually too busy to be horny and all that. So I don't ask for anything from her because I don't want to push her limits and make her feel uncomfortable. Recently, we keep getting into the discussion that she feels guilty for restraining me and my intercourse life, and she believes I should move on. I, however, don't want to leave her simply because of her promise. I feel like that's such a terrible reason to break up, and I love this girl. I really do. I want to marry her and grow old, and waiting isn't a problem, but rather our intercourse compatibility. What if we do marry and we aren't compatible? Yeah, sure, we do make love now. What if whatever it is now reflects what it will be in the future? Because I don't think I can't go like this for the rest of my life. I'm only going the distance now because I really love her. But now I'm scared that it might crash and burn at its most important moment. Please let me know what I should do. Clarifications. I don't want to point fingers and blame anyone. All of this happened because of a decision I made when I was 16, and one that I don't regret. Feel free to ask any questions. Stories number 26. Ex-wife 37F and wife 38F dog is passing away and can't agree. Advice. I'm in a pickle because I understand both sides. Some backstory. 3 years ago I started watching my ex-wife's dog that I got her early in our marriage. Due to the dog's hip issues and me living in a first-story apartment and then house, it was easier for me to watch her. Keep in mind this was supposed to be only a 2-month babysit, and now it's been 3 years. In the past 2 years, my girlfriend, which is now my new wife, has been helping me take care of the dog. So there has been some attachment, especially from her teenage son, towards my dog. The ex-wife is now in a better situation due to time and location to have the dog back, which is something we all agreed on, especially as the dog is older and she wanted to spend time with her again. She is 14. Anyways, fast forward, on Monday our dog will be going to dog heaven. My ex-wife would like me to be there for that. Yes, we are still friendly, but she does not want my current wife to be there. There hasn't been any beef between them, but no relationship either. My ex-wife is allowing us wife and stepson to visit on Saturday. That will be on my ex-in-law's house, and since our dog can't get up or move, we can't go anywhere with her. We are being limited on the time we have with her. We can be there early but have to be gone by 2 p.m. Keep in mind we would have to drive 3 hours over there plus 3 hours back home. But that part seems like they are treating us poorly. So now the ex-wife still wants me to go Monday to say the last goodbye, but won't allow my current wife to go. And my current wife states that her duty as a wife, she should be going there to support me. This is getting so bad that we were all supposed to go to my kid's day, and now the wife doesn't want to go because she is stating that my ex-wife is causing issues between all of us. And of course, she doesn't want me to go to the day party without her. I feel like which way I choose I lose. Ex-wife and I agreed on the divorce nitrogen monoxide issues. We just had disagreements. We are still friends and mostly talk because of the kid anyways. So I feel that part of me, my current wife, is overreacting, but at the same time, I agree with my wife. Why can't she be there if we have nothing going on between ex-wife and I? At this point, I am not even able to grieve for my dog. Like, I don't even want to go visit or anything now. I apologize if not making sense. My mind is all over the place with this. Stories number 27. My 38 meters daughter's mother 40F is recording me in our home. What can I do, or what does this mean? For context, one live in Denver, Colorado and unmarried. I understand this is a one-party state. I purchased my first home with this person, their third. And soon after had a little one she had to previously, so we needed a bigger house to different fathers. Fast forward to the issue at hand today. I came home tonight after my 10-hour shifts. I went to watch football and came home to play some PGA 24 on my PS5 to discover I was being recorded. We've had rough times and I've told her I'm just going to buy the house from her and have the living situation settled, that way she does not have much income and collect state assistance, and now I'm at a loss for what to do next or what it means. No arrests, no drug or alcohol abuse. Health issues keep me from doing anything crazy anymore, honestly, and being alive is more important. But I'm ready for whatever. Any tips would be appreciated. My little girl is my world and I have a feeling she's about to try and say and fit, even though I work every day and supply everything I can for her happiness. Stories number 28. My 26 FBF 28 meters thinks he works way harder, so I am not allowed to be stressed about my job. How can I make him understand that I work hard and get stressed for valid reasons? My boyfriend works for a big firm and they do rinse him a bit. He works later hours and he does work harder than me, or more demanding, not necessarily harder. I work in sales and I cold call about 300 people a week. That's outside of other outreach and we have a lot of pressure around targets. It sucks. I told him I was stressed and he basically thinks I need to grow up. And I don't work hard and have nothing to be stressed about. He doesn't understand me that sales at this level is very stressful and very draining. I feel I am not allowed to have feelings, only he is, not to mention my sister has been in the hospital after a near-death illness and she's in a different country, UK versus USA. He thinks I say dumb things at times as well. Namely, I got home at 7:30 p.m. started preheating the oven and cooking. He got home at 8:10 kicking off about how hot it was. I expressed that sorry I got busy and didn't notice, so he was like, what a stupid thing to say. But it's true, the room slowly heated up and I didn't notice. Any advice? TL. Dr. BF kicks off at stuff because he's stressed, but I am not allowed to be stressed. He thinks I don't work hard and I can't be stressed since I don't work past 7 p.m. Stories number 29. My 23F husband 23 meters took some advice from this sub and I think it's manipulation. What do I do? Putting this on my main because my husband needs to see the results. So I've been a long time fan of Reddit. The good advice I've gotten has honestly helped me with life events and relationships positively. Of course, Reddit is also full of liars, racists, intercourse, you name it. It's important to take the one or two good and constructive comments and ignore the others. My husband recently got Reddit because he also saw that there were some genuinely good people here who genuinely help. So he joined subs like relationship advice and some of his hobby subs, and he's been genuinely enjoying it. However, he recently made a post in relation advice about how to enjoy dates time together more. Didn't get a lot of traction, but he did get some solid advice. Some people had very helpful suggestion like trying something new or trying to find a shared hobby so you're both getting the most out of the date. There were some rude comments and comments suggesting in the problem, and he latched onto those for some reason. He latched onto a specific comment about how if he takes me on dates only hell, like it'll eventually wear me down and he'll greatly appreciate anything he does that isn't a him day. OFCI told him this was terrible advice, but he told me I was cherry-picking advice and that I should be open to try something new. I begrudgingly agreed because I didn't think it was a hill I should die on, and you can guess how it's been going. It wasn't terrible at first. None of the stuff he wanted to do was insufferable or anything. It's just not something I'd think of off the top of my head. We watched all his favorite movies. He likes DC, but I've never really enjoyed it, but I had no problem watching them with him. We only go on dinner dates to his favorite restaurants or get his favorite foods if it's an eat-in night. And we only do dates that are to his liking or hobbies, like going to the video game store or going to look at boots at the shop. Again, I wouldn't have a problem with any of this. Seeing him happy makes me happy. And we do stuff like this regularly anyway. But after a month the Redditor was right in basically dying for a date about something I like. We used to go to the local cafe or go to the library or bookstore or play Nintendo together on a weekly bi-weekly basis, and no, we don't do any of that. The more I sit on this, the more I feel like it's manipulation. I've tried talking with my husband about this, but he just told me I'm mad that it's working, whatever that means. Long story short, I need that good advice to try and get out of this horrible loop. My husband saying he planned to date me, getting extremely excited thinking this time we might be doing something for me, and then him taking me to his favorite shops or his favorite restaurant, and then gritting my teeth. I don't even know what to do by this point. I do feel worn down. Any advice would be appreciated. ETA. Please don't say anything rude or non-constructive about my husband. Yes, I don't agree with what he's been doing, but he's not a bad person. He still buys me flowers and gifts and still helps me cook. He's still himself. He's still the man I love. Of course, I'm not okay with the manipulation, but I'm also 100% sure this is something that can be solved. Calling my husband names and telling me to divorce him is the exact thing that I talk about in the beginning of my post. Bad advice. Update. I video chatted with my husband at lunch. I told him how I was feeling and he was immediately receptive. Despite everyone attacking him and calling him a bad partner, he was actually extremely remorseful and took all the comments to heart. He told me that he was enjoying doing only things he liked at first, but he saw after the first week or two how excited I was just to be disappointed. Yes, he could tell I was faking my happiness on dates. He said that he was reassuring himself that this would pass and I would eventually be genuinely happy on dates. So he kept gaslighting himself into thinking this was a phase or something. He said last date night 3 days ago was kind of the final straw, because we were doing something he enjoyed, but he wasn't happy anymore because I'm basically miserable. He told me he was just going to stop doing it and just try to go back to normal next date night. I told him it was too late to try and go back to normal and we needed to talk to a professional about why this happened in the first place. He was 1000% receptive and said he'd even be the one to schedule, which I believe. We're gonna look at couples counselors when he gets home. He tells me he doesn't know what happened the past month. It was almost like a fever dream to him, and I believe him. This was extremely unlike him, and the way he talked today is the man I know, not the man I've been dating. I've told him maybe to also look into individual therapy, and he agreed as well. Sorry I didn't get revenge or get divorced or whatever else you all wanted, but real life isn't a Reddit story. You work through your problems, it's for better or worse after all. But yeah, I don't plan on updating further. The problem is solved and we're gonna work our way to a new normal. Thanks for the few who gave helpful advice, and like always not surprised that the majority were just people who hate their life and are telling me to ruin mine to make themselves feel better. Sorry to disappoint you. Peace. Small ETA. You'll be happy to hear that both he and I will be deleting Reddit. As someone said in the comments, nobody here is a licensed professional, and taking advice from virtual strangers who in all honesty probably don't want to actually help you but want a good story, probably don't want what's best for you or your relationship.